Every woman remembers the man who touched her in a way she didn't expect. Not because it was bold, not because it was passionate, but because it made her feel something she couldn't shake. Most men never learn how to do this, and that's why they fade from her memory. But if you understand this one thing, your touch will stay with her for years, even if she never says it out loud. There's a way a man can touch a woman that stays with her for years. Not because it's bold, not because it's intimate, but because it's timed so perfectly, she feels it in her heart before she feels it on her skin. I remember a story about Michael, 61, confident but never loud. He met Anna at a friend's dinner party. They talked, they laughed, but nothing in his body language said he was in a hurry. Hours later, as they stepped outside, the night air was crisp. She wrapped her arms around herself, and without a word, he reached out, not to pull her in, not to make a move, but to gently place his coat over her shoulders. His fingers brushed the side of her neck for only a second, but she still remembers it. Why? Because it wasn't just touch. It was presence. Most men rush in, thinking touch will create connection. But the touches she never forgets are the ones that happen when she already feels connected to you. It's not the motion that matters, it's the moment. And that's the secret most men miss. Because the real magic? It's in how you choose the moment, and how you let her feel it's hers before it's yours. That's where timing becomes unforgettable, and that's where we'll go next. The moment you choose matters more than the way you touch. Because if you reach for her too soon, she'll pull back. And if you wait until the connection has already faded, she won't feel anything at all. Anna told me later that what made Michael's touch unforgettable wasn't his hand, or even the coat, it was that he waited. Through the entire evening, he never accidentally brushed her arm, never leaned in just to test the waters. He let the conversation do the work. He let the silence between words feel comfortable. By the time his hand finally reached her, it didn't feel like a surprise, it felt like the natural next step. Here's the twist most men miss: a woman will remember the first time you touch her, but only if it's the exact moment she already wanted it. That's why patience is power. The longer you hold your ground without forcing it, the stronger the moment becomes. And once the timing is right, the question becomes, where? Because the place you touch will decide whether she feels it for a second, or remembers it for a lifetime. Where you choose to touch her will decide the story she tells herself about you. And no, it's not always about the obvious places. The touches that last aren't about passion first, they're about trust. When Michael placed his coat on Anna's shoulders, his hand didn't slide anywhere it didn't belong. It rested briefly on the side of her arm, then moved away. That tiny moment told her something powerful: he could, but he didn't. It's restraint that makes her lean closer. It's the awareness that you're in control of yourself, and that control makes her feel safe in your presence. Most men make the mistake of going straight for intimacy, thinking it will spark attraction. But here's the truth: if she doesn't yet feel safe, she'll only remember the discomfort. The touches she can't forget are the ones that respect her space while still letting her know you're right there. And once you understand where to touch, the real skill is in how you do it, because your hands can either make her tense or melt. That's the part most men get wrong, and it's what we'll uncover next. How you touch her will decide whether she stiffens or softens into you. And it's not about pressure, it's about intention. When Michael's fingers brushed Anna's arm, there was no rush, no gripping, no searching for a reaction. His hand was steady, warm, and then, it was gone. That's what made it powerful. It wasn't trying to take, it was simply there, then it let go. Here's the twist: the touches she remembers aren't the ones that demand her attention, they're the ones that give her room to feel it. If your touch says, "I need you to respond," she'll feel the weight of expectation. But if your touch says, "I'm here, and that's enough," she'll feel the freedom to lean in. It's the same reason some songs stick with you. They don't play every note loudly, they leave space for the listener. Your touch should leave space for her. And when you master that, there's one last thing that makes her remember you long after you're gone, and it has nothing to do with your hands. What she remembers most isn't your hands, it's the feeling that stayed after you were gone. Because a touch lasts only seconds, but the emotion it creates can live in her for years. When Anna thought about Michael later, it wasn't just the coat on her shoulders or the brush of his hand. It was the way he carried himself the whole night, calm, unhurried, never chasing her attention, never asking for more than she was ready to give. That's what made that single moment unforgettable. His touch was just the final note in a song that had been playing all evening. And here's what most men don't realize: the touch she never forgets is the one that feels like it belonged to the man you were before it happened. If you rush it, force it, or use it to get something, she won't remember the magic, she'll remember the motive. So be the man whose presence feels steady before his hand ever reaches hers. Because when she feels safe, seen, and drawn to you without a single word, that's when one simple touch can make her remember you for the rest of her life.